think a lot of people just kind of lived off survival instinct. So there was two different class statuses apparent, and it was Puritans and the Native Americans. And I think the colonies were a lot more sophisticated with everything they did. I mean, they didn't live in teepees. And they had colonies, and they had like places to live and things to eat, and they grew crops and all that. But the Native Americans killed and used everything that they could of the animal. So I just think they're a little more sophisticated. So, all right, Rika.
I noticed that Mary Rowlandson book was autobiography, and it was written in narrative, first person point of view. And what she really did want to do is just have the readers identify with her situation. But while I was reading, I also noticed that she used a lot of figurative language, and really, like, a lot of physical language she used was like based off the Bible. And like Raven was saying, like she compared to the Native Americans as barbaric creatures, and talked about the Puritans, like God chosen ones and all that stuff. But I guess like a good example would be like I guess like a verse that she used, like to talk about the characters that was captured during this time frame. With she said, we had husbands and fathers and children and sisters and friends and relations in the house and home and many comforts of this life. But now we may say, as Job, naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And like while I was also reading, I noticed that there was a lot of difference between social classes. Like she had, I guess, like Philip, who was the person who attacked his college, who was the chief of his tribe. He was kind of in the head. And then you had her, which she was kind of medium in social status, but she became a slave within her capture. Within her capture, she also had to do a lot of stuff that she normally would have to do, like weave clothes. And there was a time that she didn't want to weave clothes, but she really was stuck in that situation, so she had no choice but to do that. And she also had to do stuff that she was uncomfortable with, like during that time frame, the food sources was kind of scarce because, you know, the colonists came in wiping out the Indians, natural food source, so the Indians actually ate a horse leg. And so she was forced to have to do that too, and she kind of like, when the details out, she didn't like it, how it was kind of disgusting and all that, but after a while she adapted to it. Well, in my opinion, I mean, I kind of think that she was an intelligent woman because not a lot of women during that time frame actually wrote books and, well, like actually talking, especially Puritan women, you know what I mean? Because it was kind of like more based off Bible type stuff, but she brought her autobiography back to what it came from, and it was like one of the world's best sellers. Besides the Bible, of course, like what it was at.
Mary's main idea in her story is she's basically telling the story to inform people, you know, life as a Puritan, a mother, a wife, and a captive at this time period. She dealt with, you know, many hardships, the food and the constant battle between the British and the Indian, and then she was separated from her family, and then she had to cope with losing a child. She kind of reminds me of Anne Bradstreet because they both refer to God a lot in their works, and like dealing with these hardships at that time, that's probably what kept people together was God. And like Anne wrote poems, but they were still like based on her life, sort of like more how she felt as opposed to actually what happened in her life. And Mary was the narrative of her life at this time. And then, like I said, they both put God into their work. And also compare Mary to John Smith because they were both captives by the Indians, and John Smith also had to deal with the constant attacks of the Indians. And today her work is studied as early American literature, which there's not very much literature from this time, but I believe hers is one of the significant pieces because it goes into detail of King Philip's War. I'm sure there's not very many of those out there. Today there's a film about Marilyn Rollinson. I've only watched a couple of clips on YouTube, and I don't like it. But it's by Inkwell's production, and today there's also a school named after her in Lancaster, Massachusetts, which is just Mary Rollinson Elementary School. And she lived through hardships in the early colonies and survived all these harsh punishment from the Indians, and I believe that gives her the merit to, be considered a brave woman who deserves to be recognized for her narrative. And she has some very important main ideas in her narrative that, we still study today, not even in this class, in history class as well. And I believe that's what makes Mary Rollinson so significant to American literature.
We have a video, and we're only going to show up to 2 minutes of it, and it kind of shows what she had to go through in the colony or into the capture, because at the end it kind of gets corny. And
If y'all don't care, if we can put that link on Facebook so we can watch it on Facebook, just
Okay.
because I'm scared we're running out of time.
Oh,
So
okay.
I want to see it, but we'll just, if you will, just put the link on Facebook and we can watch it
Okay.
there. Okay? Yep. If you have a video, yep. Okay, I have a couple of questions for you. Rico, do you think that Mary Rollinson consistently upheld her Puritan morality, or do you think she kind of swayed away from that?
I think she upheld it.
So you don't think there was any time in the text where she deviated from? What about the?
I mean, she was in that situation, so she had no choice but to adapt. But in her mind, she still remained a Puritan woman.
But just because you believe or something, does that mean you're really doing it?
Well, not necessarily.
So can you think of any time in the text where you, as a non-Puritan, or maybe you are a Puritan, but I'm assuming you're not, is there anything that you see in the text that made you think, wow, she kind of went against what she said she believed?
Yes.
Where?
Just a lot of times, just some of the examples I named, weave. Well, she said that she didn't want to weave, but she had to do it anyway. And then she didn't want to eat what she had to eat, but she had to eat. She had to pick some nuts and stuff. Had to do a lot of stuff that she wasn't really accustomed to and really didn't want to do, but she had to do it anyway.
Emily, can you? Is there any-
Stealing from the child, I don't think that was very Puritan of her, and calling the Indians all those names, I don't think that was very Puritan of her, but I think that she really didn't have a choice. I mean, she had to live. And, at first she was like, I'd rather die than be taken captive, but when it came down to it, it's like, okay, I guess I'll go with them. Even if it did go against her ways, that's what she had to do to survive at the time.
What do you think, Raven, about the perspective of the story? Do you think Rollinson ever realized, wow, I'm saying I'm a Puritan, I'm saying I'm upholding these ideas, but I just stole food from a child, and I'm just being very judgmental about these people who are doing what they have to do to survive? Do you think that ever clicked with her? Did she ever demonstrate any sympathy, in your opinion, toward these people? Did she ever say, wow, I'm doing things I wouldn't normally do to survive, and that's just what they're doing? Did it ever click with her? Do you think that
I think that
she had done this, that she and her people had done the exact same thing to them that they were doing to her?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you would take, if anybody would if you're a Christian or if you're whatever religion you are, and you are forced out of your comfort zone into somewhere else, and you're forced to make all these different decisions, but still try to keep some kind of faith inside you, you're obviously torn. You don't know what you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So it's up to you to make those decisions, and I think that most of the time she tried to make the right ones, but she was harsh on him because they just destroyed everything she had. They killed one of her kids, obviously you'd be a little bit upset about it. So, I would be calling him a little bit more than that, to be honest. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think so.
Good job, guys.
I hope you don't mind, I went ahead and took initiative to turn that